Party people, welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, where the gaming table is always set for two. I am your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This week I am joined by Tasha Robinson for a super fun, super creepy, and super weird game of Grin. Grin is a one-page horror micro game, which utilizes a dwindling deck of cards as its central tension mechanic. As players navigate various horror scenarios, they are forced to draw cards. Every card that they draw increases the chances of drawing the dreaded Joker card, a move which marks their imminent, grisly demise. Survival in Grin requires a perfect combination of quick thinking and the luck of the draw. It's such a cool game, and I'm so happy with how this episode turned out, and I really can't wait for you to hear it. Tasha is the film and TV editor for TheVerge.com. She's also one of the hosts of the Next Picture Show podcast, which takes classic cinema and pairs it with modern films to compare, contrast, and provide an interpretive focus. If you enjoy talking about and listening to and thinking about the art of film and the context of film, you should absolutely check it out. It is a fascinating podcast. You can find information on all that good stuff in the show notes. A brief technical note before we dive in. This was recorded at Gen Con, so if there's a little bit of background noise or things sound slightly different than usual, that's why. It shouldn't be an issue, especially since Megan from Modifier let us borrow her podcasting equipment, which, thank you so much, Meg. That was so helpful, and I so thoroughly appreciate it. But if there's any background noise or anything like that, it's just because Gen Con is a thing. And with all that out of the way, let's throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me.
Thanks, Future Me. This week I am sitting down with Tasha Robinson. Tasha, thanks so much for coming on Party of One.
I am so excited. This is my first live play podcast. I couldn't be more thrilled.
I'm really excited about it. This is going to be a lot of fun. So real quick, at the top of the show, you know what we like to do. Why don't you tell the audience at home anything you want them to know about, any cool projects you're working on, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I am a film and TV editor for The Verge at TheVerge.com, part of Vox Media. We're a tech and culture website. I also do a podcast with some friends. We worked together at the AV Club and then at Pitchfork's film site, The Dissolve. It's called the Next Picture Show podcast, and that's where we talk about current films and the older films that might have inspired them or relate to them in some way.
That's super cool. I love it. So this week we are playing a game called Grin. It is a one-page horror micro game that you can find in the show notes. It is really cool. I love the way it works. It's a little Dread-like in that it sort of builds tension by way of just like watching your resources dwindle, and I'm really excited to get into it. So, why don't you introduce us to your character and your background this week?
Sure. Her name is Kelly Halloran. She is a firefighter. Where are we set? Have we determined that?
We're at Gen Con right now. Let's say Indianapolis.
Oh, absolutely awesome. All right. So she was born and raised in Indianapolis. She is kind of a hometown girl. She's never traveled that far. She came from a large blue-collar working family, and she's really excited about being a first responder. She's done this for a couple of years now, and she's pretty dedicated, hardworking gal.
Yeah. And it's been pretty great. You know, you've got a few big jobs under your belt. You've got a proud record, and it's been, your family sends in nice messages once in a while. You get the occasional really pleasant Facebook post. There's really nothing it just seems like it's going to be a great day and a great year. It's a Tuesday afternoon, about 2 p.m. The sun is high in the sky. It is a bright, sunny, beautiful day. When you get a call about a small fire in one of the condos in the Brickman building. You've got a history in the Brickman building.
I do have a history in the Brickman building. I have some bad memories about that place. As it happened, I was dating a fellow named Reggie Linder. He was in finance, and we met in a bar, and he seemed like a nice guy, kind of flashy and high-rolling, and we dated for a while. But he took me to a party in that building, and it didn't go well. It was all of his rich friends. They kind of made fun of my clothes. They kind of made fun of my accent. And we ended up kind of having a fight with each other that escalated until we were yelling at each other in the lobby. And about a month later, we broke up. So I remember this building as just a place where obnoxious, stuck-up rich people live.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reputation that it has across town. It's one of these really nice new condos, and so like it's individual floors. It's real glass. It's big wall-length windows, and it's just like the ritziest of places. So the fire truck blares down the street. You pull up in front, and the fire here's where we get to get into the mechanics of the game. The fire is on the 13th floor.
Wait, this place has a 13th floor?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they decided that they decided to buck superstition. They're ritzy, and they're like, it's that's for plebeians. That's for pedestrians.
It probably costs extra to buy condos on the 13th floor because most places don't have an exclusive 13th floor.
Yeah, this is the only place in town that is a 13th floor. So you have to make your way up to the 13th floor.
Okay.
You can take the cherry picker. It's not going to get you all the way up, but it'll get you most of the way up. Or you can take the stairs.
Well, how bad is the fire? Is it visible from outside?
It is not visible from outside, but there is some smoke pouring out of a few of the windows. You get a sense that before they left, the residents kind of threw open the windows to fumigate. You don't want the smoke smell lingering.
I mean, I imagine I would take the stairs up. If the cherry picker's not going to get me all the way up, and all I really want is a vantage point on the fire, I think we're going to take the stairs up and find out what's going on.
Well, now we get to get in the mechanics of the game, because the way the Grin works is we have a deck of cards in front of us. It has 40 cards in it, because the way it works with one player is I take out 12 cards, all numbered cards, non-aces, non-faces. Every time you do something that has the potential for failure or harm, you're going to draw a card. And for the first half of the game, for the first 20 cards you draw, that's not going to be a problem. However, when we get into the second half of the cards, then we get the possibility of a joker. If you draw the joker, your character meets a grisly end. As long as you don't draw that joker, you're fine. You can make it out of here in one piece. So go ahead and draw me that first card.
Okay. Be a 4.
All right. So yeah, you climb and you climb and you climb and you climb, but you eventually make it up there. Your gear is heavy on your back, and you make it up. There's a little bit of smoke in the air. It's a fire. This is, it's ordinary. It's not the most convenient because you had to climb 13 floors, but it's easy. You get to the door. Do you check the handle?
I put my fingertips lightly on the door to see if it's hot.
Draw a card.
7?
Yep, it is definitely hot. There is definitely a fire on the other side. You can push through, but you're going to have to push through fire, which is going to be a card. Or you can take, that there is if you go up a floor, you can run over, try the other side. You won't have to draw a card, but it will take a little bit of extra time. And as you're touching the door, you start to hear shuffling on the inside.
Well, I'm not going to open it right away because that would be letting oxygen into the fire. But I've got my irons, my Halligan bar and axe. So take the Halligan bar and rap sharply on the door and yell, "Anyone in there? Can you hear me?"
You hear shuffling, but no response. You hear the faintest. You can hear voices, but not clearly. You hear, you can identify them as voices, but you can't tell if they're saying anything, and they're not responding to you.
Okay, well, that tells me that there's probably somebody inside in need of rescue. I've already got my goggles on. I'll pull on my breather to make sure I can breathe in the smoke. Already wearing my helmet, my jacket, my turnout pants. So I'm about as protected from fire as I'm going to be.
Yep.
And then I'll smack the working end of the Halligan bar into the jamb of the door and pry it open.
You have got nothing to worry about from this fire. This is going to be a great day. Go ahead and draw a card as you push through, and there's definitely fire.
It's a face card.
All right, so when you draw a face card, things start to escalate.
Oh,
you're going to have to draw a second card.
That's an ace.
And when you draw an ace, you have something in your back pocket. You can play that card instead of drawing a card later.
Yep.
So you push through, you smash through the door, and there's fire. You see a little bit of fire. There's sort of lingering ember-like fires, and they periodically bursting out a little bit. But what you mainly see is smoke, thick, black, viscous smoke that's just you can't see in front of your face. You can barely see your hand in front of your face. And for a brief moment, ever so briefly, you swear you see eyes, a smile. No, that's ridiculous. The smoke is playing tricks on your eyes. That's, it does that. And yet, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm used to seeing things in the fire and the smoke.
Yeah.
I'm all business. It occurs to me that I should have reported in, and I got a little excited. Any day that I get to break down doors is a good firefight day. So I'll lean into my shoulder mic and say, breaking the door on 1304. I hear people inside. I've gone in. It's looking pretty grisly up here.
Draw a card. You get static for a second or two too long, and the radio comes in, but it comes in sort of warbled and distorted, and they give you a, thanks for checking in, noted, make sure there's nobody in there, clear out the fire if you can.
Okay.
Make sure it doesn't spread to the other floors. You got this.
I mean, is this, it sounded to me, given the amount of smoke, like this might be a fairly large fire I'm not going to be able to put out with like a hand extinguisher.
Yeah, so they okay, I know what they say. They let you know that there is a sprinkler system inside, but it seems like maybe the fuse didn't work, or maybe it's been disabled. So if you can track down the fuse and hit the sprinkler, that should knock out most of it. We don't really know why the fire alarm didn't go off, like why it didn't sprinkle, but
right.
If you can track down that fuse box and hit that switch, it should help with the fire.
Okay.
Like, the floor should at least get cleaned up.
Well, first priority is the people I broke in here to rescue. So I'm shouting. I'm with the fire department. I'm here to help. Can anybody hear me?
Give me a draw as you navigate through the smoke. You're pushing through. You're giving your shouts. You're giving your orders, and you're still hearing these murmurs and voices, and you're seeing that there's a lot of debris around. And that's not great, because you think there might be people under there.
Uh-oh.
And you're hearing these voices, but they don't sound scared or in pain or anything. They just sound annoyed. And you're not hearing anything in particular, except for periodically, like, yuppie. Or, like,
Wait, I'm hearing yuppie voices?
No, you're hearing people say things like yuppies or stuck up. Like, you just get to hear the occasional whisper of a word like, stuck up yuppies. Why am I here? Why'd you bring me?
Oh my God, these elite idiots. Maybe they're drunk, maybe they're on something. What the hell? And they're not trying to get out of the fire. I yell, there is a fire in this building. You need to evacuate immediately. Follow the sound of my voice. And then I'm looking at the debris to see if there's any sign of people.
Draw me a card.
That's another ace.
That's another ace.
I'm gonna bank that.
Doing great. You're shouting, and you still hear these voices, and you're looking at this debris, and it moves a little bit.
Uh-oh.
You see the faintest glimpse of a hand.
Okay, well then I'm going to try to pry that debris up and rescue the person I came in here to rescue.
Give me a card.
It's a 9.
You move it, and there's no one there.
Huh. Oh, the smoke is really playing tricks on me at this point.
It really is, because you swore as you moved that debris you heard a laugh. And that's weird.
This is the point where I start thinking, if somebody thinks they're being funny, do I have any sense from the structure of the building, what I know about electrical systems, where I would go to find the fuses?
Yeah, you have some idea. You know it's probably in the kitchen area.
Okay.
You probably keep it towards the back by the fridge in case the fridge goes out. So you can make your way over there, but it's going to require a draw the card as you sort of move over debris and through all of the smoke.
Okay. I will keep shouting as I go, because at some point, if there is some idiot back there in the smoke,
right.
They're going to hear me, but I will move towards the kitchen. And that is a face card.
That is a face card. You're moving towards the kitchen, and you start hearing voices more clearly, and then you kind of realize why that voice is so familiar. It was Reggie, right? Mm-hmm. You know that Reggie's not here, right? You know of all the places where he could be, he can't have come back to one of these parties. How long has it been?
Oh, it's been like close to a year at this point. But I mean, he knew the people who lived here.
So
who knows? Maybe he could be here.
But like, of all the places to run into Reggie, and you're hearing him say things like, "These are my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Just hang out, have fun."
Reggie, this isn't funny. This isn't a joke. There's a fire.
Draw a card.
It's another ace.
Damn.
Got 3 banked at this point.
he keeps talking and he keeps saying things, and there's this tickle in the back of your mind, like you can't pinpoint it, but it feels real familiar. Everything he's saying feels real familiar. And you swear, and as you're moving towards the kitchen, you swear you see a billow of smoke comes through the kitchen. You're pretty sure the fire started there. And you swear you see a figure standing there and, move real quick and then disappear.
Okay, well, somebody's playing stupid games and in a dangerous situation, which is kind of par for the course for these kinds of people. I'm going to look and see if there is an actual small extinguisher. If the fire started in the kitchen, maybe I can at least put out enough of it to get to the fuse box.
Give me a draw.
It's an 8.
All right, you move in that direction. There is a small extinguisher. It is sort of near. It's sort of. The kitchen is one of these. Is an open entryway. It's a kitchen dining area. So you move in that direction, and the fire extinguisher is right in the middle. It's a small personal extinguisher, not enough to put out the whole fire. Could be handy. You move in that direction. You hit the glass because it's one of those old school. They kind of probably sought it out for the little extra opulence of we have to break the glass if there's a fire. Yeah. So you break the glass and you punch the glass, and the shattered pieces fall, and in them you see from behind you undeniably Reggie's face in one of the shards of glass.
Okay, I whirl around.
Not there. Nothing. More smoke. A figure in the distance. But no Reggie. Certainly not as close and as clear as the one in the glass.
I back up a little bit into the kitchen at this point. I'm getting a little unnerved by all of this.
Tell me a card as you back up.
It's 10.
You back up a little bit and stumble over some debris. You stumble your pack, the big personal extinguisher that you've got, or the oxygen tank rather. Your oxygen tank gets knocked and kind of slips off a little bit. So now you're holding it on one shoulder, and it's heavy. I mean, it's full.
Okay.
And you're holding it, and you stumbled back, and you see that figure. You've got your eyes locked on this figure, and you blink, and he's not there anymore. And then you blink again, and he's standing kind of over you. And you get a really good look at him, and he's sort of one of these rich elite types at first glance. He's got a pressed black tux with a bow tie, and he's holding a martini, and he's got this smile. And then the smoke kind of crosses over him some more, and you see that his skin is gray and white, and he smiles wide, and you see his teeth are broken, and blood is kind of running down the side of his mouth, and his skin's so just tight. It's just pulled really tight. And the smell that hits your nose, even through the rebreather, is formaldehyde.
Yeah, I stumble backwards. If I've actually gone down on my butt, I crawl backwards. If that means shrugging out of the oxygen tank, I do. And I'm yelling, "This isn't funny. This isn't a joke. You should get out of here." Trying to convince myself this is a normal situation.
Give me a card.
It's another 10.
You are waving and flailing and screaming, and smoke kind of moves out of the kitchen, and you blink and he's not there anymore.
I clutch the rebreather to my mouth and just breathe deeply, just sucking oxygen in. Maybe it's hypoxia. Maybe I took in a little too much smoke somehow.
Could be. It certainly could be. I mean, the smoke seems to be dangerous stuff. Yeah. So you swore you saw him, but it's gone now, and you're looking around, and it's suddenly real quiet. You don't even hear the voices that you heard before.
Okay. I'm going to scramble to my feet. I am sure that I dropped the axe and the iron, so I'm going to gather them back up, clip them together, hang them on my belt where they're supposed to be, try to get the oxygen pack back on my back, get myself together.
Give me a card.
6.
Yeah, it takes more effort because, you're trying to shake it off, and you're also trying to put your stuff together. You've got a lot going on at the moment. And there's still this fire. The fires are still kind of popping around you, and they're popping and crackling and fizzing. And you're looking around, and you are definitely by yourself in this condo. You don't really know where anybody else went. There's just fire and smoke. and that debris that seems to be shifting again.
I avert my eyes from the shifting debris. I have a small feeling of I fell for that once before. I'm whispering to myself, I'm a trained professional. I can deal with this. I know how to deal with a fire. And I'm turning to look for that fuse box.
Okay, give me a card.
6.
You locate the fuse box. It takes a little bit of effort to move the fridge out of the way, but it's back there. You find it. You pull it open. You're looking at the fuses. You can tell which one of the sprinkler, and it's been switched off, but all of the other ones are still on.
Huh. I say to my shoulder, HQ, I'm pretty sure this is an arson situation. And I'm pretty sure that the arsonist is up here.
HQ flips on. Give me a card.
2.
HQ flips on, and it's warbled and distorted. And at first, they start to give you a response of like, at first it seems real understanding, and then it gets kind of aggressive. They say, if it's arson, report it, note it. But what are you doing in there? Why aren't you at the party? Why aren't you having fun? What? You're doing this again.
At the party? What are you talking about?
You know Carl, the dispatcher, pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Old guy, war vet, upstanding fellow. Got kind of a scratch in his voice because he had a little bit of a war injury. And a real kind of a scratch and a gurgle in his voice. It's not there anymore. His voice is still familiar, but not in the way that you were. Like, that's not Carl's voice saying that. Is that Reggie?
I once again sort of try to pretend that I'm not experiencing what I'm experiencing because I don't want to look like an idiot in front of people that I respect. And I'm yelling into my shoulder mic, Carl, get it together. This isn't the time for practical jokes. There's a fire.
Give me a card.
Queen.
Oh, give me another draw.
Jack.
Give me another draw. There we go.
Right, 2.
Excuse me. A weird feeling hits the back of your neck. And you start really, your eyes kind of go wide as you're yelling at Carl and you're still hearing Reggie saying these things. What was your character's name?
Kelly.
You're yelling at Carl, and then you hear, Kelly, you're always doing this. Just have fun.
I'm at work.
And
this is work.
That's when it hits you that you've heard all of these things before.
Oh, of course.
This is the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Word for word. And then you hear yourself respond. Exactly what you said then. Clearer than a recording could be. Just playing through as long, and you're holding the button down, you're screaming, and you just hear yourself start to scream back about these stuck-up yuppies judging you and making fun of you behind your back. You can hear them snickering. What do you do?
I stop holding down the button on my mic. I let it go. I stand there staring at the fuse system, and I say under my breath, "You assholes deserve to burn, but this is my job." And I flick the switch on for the sprinklers.
Give me a card.
Jack. And the next one is a 3.
You flip it, and as soon as you flip it, you hear this sort of very tired laugh. Like a laugh that is just older, and a laugh that's been laughing for too long as the water starts to come down. And then, without even touching the button, the radio flips on, and it's Carl's voice. And he's saying, "What the hell are you doing?" As the water starts to come down, and the electronics. Oh God, this is a kitchen fire. Oh God, this is an electric fire. You just hit the sprinklers on an electric fire. Boom! Fire everywhere, smoke everywhere, and with the smoke, you see the smiling man again, holding his drink, sipping his formaldehyde martini.
I grab for my irons, and I hiss at him, "Who are you?"
He just takes a drink, and he says, "Welcome to the party." and like the smoke is billowing, and as the smoke billows, he is more there than he was before. He seemed kind of semi there, and now he's fully there as the smoke surrounds him.
All right, I'm the irons were perhaps a smart decision, but my job is not to fight formaldehyde drinking men with axes. Hanging them back on my belt and grabbing for the extinguisher, and I'm going to start trying to put out the immediate fires around me that are personally threatening me. Oh my gosh!
And that's the Joker.
That's early on.
That is real early on.
And here I am with three aces banked that I could have used.
Hubris. Hubris is what it is.
It's true.
Well, I want to play this scene out at least. You start spraying and you start putting out the fire, and with the fire goes him. Like, you get the fire and the smoke starts to settle, and that fire extinguisher foam starts to, like, drift down. Mm-hmm. And he's gone. And you think, oh, that's great, okay. You start moving debris, and at that moment you hear the door start moving through the door is the other responders. You know, now it's a major electrical fire. Something went wrong. You hear the other responders. You hear them start moving things. And then you hear screams. You turn the corner and you see from that same gnarled, bony, blood-dripping hand, the one holding the martini, you see it coming out from the debris, and you see it grab someone by the ankle and pull them face down into the debris.
Oh, man.
You see that same hand again come from around a corner and grab someone by the throat and pull them back into a hallway. You don't see what happened then, but can't be good.
I'm dropping the extinguisher and just grabbing for the axe.
Mm-hmm. You grab for the axe and you see him behind you and you swing. And when you swing the smoke, and it dissipates, and with it dissipates him. And you grab for your extinguisher, and between the three of you that are still up, you manage to put out most of the fires. You manage to get the place cleared out a little bit. Nobody is claiming to see anything out. Nobody but you is seeing anything, but you're seeing him. Every time you see the smoke, you see him there. And you see him laughing, and you see him start to reach for people, and then they shake it off a little bit. And then you see other things. You see Reggie laughing at the party. You see a few other of the people you saw that night. You see you just having the worst time. Worse than you even remember. You know, you've kind of brushed it off a little bit, but it's just the worst party.
Seeing myself from the outside, having tried to dress up and tried to do my makeup in a way that would impress these people, having tried to do my hair, and seeing what that looks like from the outside, I imagine is even worse than being there was.
It's so much worse. And you can see, and the worst part is you can see the look on your face. And like you're not the type of person to like watch your facial expressions in a mirror, but you can see it, and it's so obvious that you're having a bad time, and no one at this party is noticing. Except for him. You see him watching you and smiling. And he's sipping his formaldehyde martini. And he's just watching, not you now, but you then. And he's just sipping and smiling. And just kind of kicks back. He actually leans back in one of the recliners. These yuppie recliners. He leans back, kicks his feet up and takes a sip, and looks at you now and is like, everyone should have fun at a party.
What are you? What do you want?
I am this place. I am parties and opulence and the history of the Brickman building, or the history that will come from it. You see this tuxedo is kind of patchwork and stained at weird points. And is that blood? And then he's gone. Smoke dissipates. He's gone again. And then you feel his hand on your shoulder.
I don't turn around. I freeze and just lock up, but I just say, "See your arrogance. You're everybody who's ever looked down on someone."
Oh, so you know me then?
Oh, I know you.
And he takes a sip. What do you do?
I still have the axe in hand. He is close enough to touch me. He is too close for a good swing, but I'm gonna just turn around and try to basically hold the axe like right under the head, and turn around and just like slam the back of it, the blunt end of it, into his face.
Exactly what happens. You drive it in, and his face, like, it caves in. There's blood splatters. And that's weird, because you were pretty sure that he was some sort of smoke thing.
Uh-huh.
But blood splatters. You look, and Martina, one of the other firefighters, is looking at you and is like, what was that? She doesn't see anything, but you look down at your axe, and there's definitely blood on it.
Did I just cream one of my fellow firefighters?
No, there's no one around. The smoke dissipated a little bit, but there's definitely blood on your axe. She's like, what the hell just happened?
This is not going to make her any more comfortable, but I bring the axe up to my face and smell the blood to see if it smells like formaldehyde.
It definitely... Well, it smells boozy. It doesn't even smell like formaldehyde. It smells just boozy.
All right, I'm literally standing there sniffing my axe in front of my fellow firefighter.
She's just like, what? Are you all right, buddy?
Maybe a little smoke inhalation.
Go hang outside. We got this. And you see that, like, most of the fire has been taken care of. They've trashed whatever. They've fixed whatever stuff has been damaged. The situation is clear. Or as clear as...
We're still down a couple people.
They look around. Yeah, I don't see Eddie. He was on the job, right? Maybe he's taking a smoke break.
Martina, where did he get to?
He should be here. Let me check the bathroom.
Eddie.
Let me check the bathroom.
Okay.
She goes off to the bathroom. And then it gets real quiet again.
Oh, you know what? We should definitely all split up and go in different directions.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, Kelly has a moment of, no, this was a terrible idea. Is anybody else still up here?
There are, no. You see, that was the last of you. The last, the two people, Ted and Jenny. Ted and Jenny carry off, like, a busted TV set that was starting to spark. Like, they carry it out, and then you're by yourself in the apartment. The fire's all gone. There's still some smoke in the air, but...
I look longingly towards the open and empty door to out, and then I go to the bathroom to see what became of Martina.
She is fully geared up in the shower, scalded to death.
Oh my god.
You didn't hear the shower run, but there she is.
Oh my god. Is Eddie also in there?
No. You turn back around and Eddie's still there, impaled on a piece of debris, and you don't know why she couldn't have seen that. He was right there.
I am slowly backing away from this, and then on second thought, I'm putting my back against the wall and slowly sliding away from this.
You slide away, you get out. There's no further problems with the smiling man. You slide out. You get into the stairwell and you slide and you sit. And you sit, and whatever happened in there, whatever memories that brought up, whatever smoke, whatever happened is over. You're okay. And then the outlet next to you starts to spark and sizzle and smoke. And you close your eyes because you know what's about to come. They found the fire in the Brickman building was crazy. It took a crew of 6, and 4 of them didn't make it out. It looks like it was just accidents, things were going wild. The sprinklers got lit, despite the fact that nobody flipped that switch. Whew, what a crazy development that was. They repaired it, though. And the last thing that we see is Reggie's car pull up. They're having a reopening of the condo party.
Of course they are.
And he goes up and he puts his drink down. He lights a cigarette. They've disabled the smoke alarms. And he sets it down, and a little bit of smoke trails up, and we see a little bit of a smile start to form.
That's terrific.
And that's game.
That's amazing. I really expected that to run longer.
I did as well.
I should have thrown in those aces earlier.
I was watching those 3 aces like, we're getting down in cards.
I could definitely see that it was escalating, and I waited too long, much as one tends to do with the supernatural.
Yep.
But that was really fun.
That was super good. Dang, that was fun. Yeah, I love the way that Grin, like, you can, like, once you get down that number of cards, you have no idea. And you just think it's fine, and then, whoops.
You're right.
No.
That does make it a lot like Dread. That just that sense of I know that this tower isn't stable, but I can definitely get one more.
It's that thought of like, I can push it and it's fine, and then you push it and you're not fine.
What a simple system.
It's neat. I found it. James Motto was tweeting about it. He was like, hey, if anybody sees this, and I looked at it, it was like, if you only have one player, and I said, why, yes.
It's the siren call of Party of One podcast.
It is. Tasha, thank you so much for coming on Party of One. This was so much fun.
Thank you for inviting me. I was so excited to be here, and what a great thing to do at Gen Con.
Yeah, right? This was great. Oh, this was so cool. So real quick, where can people find you and your work online?
People can find my writing about film and TV, plenty of it banked at the AV Club and at the Dissolve, but I'm currently writing at The Verge. You can also find me on Twitter at Tasha Robinson, and you can find my current film podcast at the Next Picture Show podcast.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me.
Thanks, past me, and thanks again to Tasha for coming onto the show. That game was beyond cool. That game ruled. Be sure to check out all of Tasha's work on The Verge and on the Next Picture Show podcast. If you enjoy pop culture in the way that I enjoy pop culture, it is so thoroughly up your alley. Tasha has an incredible mind and an incredible voice for pop culture critique, and I am just a huge fan of her work. You can also follow her on Twitter at Tasha Robinson, and follow the Next Picture Show podcast on Twitter at NextPicturePod. Then while you're on Twitter, follow this show at Party of One Pod, like the show at Facebook.com/Party of One Podcast. If you enjoy the show, consider giving us a nice iTunes review, a social media shout-out, or a word-of-mouth recommendation. All three of those things help new listeners find the show, which helps us do bigger, better, and cooler things. If you enjoy the show, consider backing us on Patreon. Patreon backers get access to cool bonus features, and Patreon dollars help pay for equipment fees, hosting costs, convention appearances, and other expenses. If you want to hear more from me, check out All My Fantasy Children, the podcast in which Aaron Catano-Saez and I take your listener prompts and turn them into beautiful, thriving, vibrant role-playing game children. I especially think that you should check out the most recent episode, Barney Barguest. It's really freaking good. It is a fascinating ghost story. I don't want to give too much away, but I think you're really gonna love it. It is an episode that is really personal to me and really important to me, and I think you should check it out. You can find that at allmyfantasychildren.libsyn.com. Party of One is produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Megaran featuring the D&D Sluggers. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, coming onto the show, or you've started reading the new Mr. Miracle comic and you have questions about the new gods, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. That's it for me. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-care and self-love are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on.